What fun. Merry Christmas, everybody. Now to CBS.
This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rattle reporting. Good evening and Merry Christmas. Lynette Squeaky Fromm is loose this Christmas Eve, still missing without a trace. The follower of the homicidal helter-skelter cult of Charles Manson is missing from a West Virginia prison since yesterday. She's been serving a life term for trying to kill President Ford 12 years ago. Rita Braver has the latest on the search for Squeaky Fromm.
Federal officials are still puzzling over how Lynette Squeaky Fromm got away. The disciple of mass murderer Charles Manson was serving a life sentence for the attempted assassination of President Gerald Ford in 1975. Hundreds of federal marshals and state police are now searching for her in the rugged mountains near the Women's Federal Penitentiary at Alderson, West Virginia.
She was last seen wearing a green fatigue type jacket. It's a military type jacket that we issue here, along with green pants and I believe a red checked scarf.
Fromm was considered one of Manson's chief lieutenants. Years ago, she carved an X into her forehead in his honor. Even after she was convicted of attempting to kill Gerald Ford, she remained loyal to Manson.
My concern is not your presidents. My concern is Manson, air, water, and earth.
At first, Fromm was jailed in this maximum security unit at Alderson, but after extended good behavior, she was moved into the general population, kept under medium security, and even allowed monitored correspondence with Manson.
Nothing that she has done in the last 12 years since she's been a prisoner in the federal prison system would indicate to us that she would be a threat to anyone at this point in her life.
But prosecutors familiar with the Manson family disagree.
There's no question in my mind that she's extremely dangerous, and from reading her correspondence with Manson over the years, even when she's been in prison, there is no indication that she's changed over the years.
So I think she's very dangerous. She's willing to do not only what Manson wants her to do, but what she thinks Manson wants her to do.
The Secret Service says its agents are on alert tonight. Federal prison officials say that if and when they find Squeaky Fromm, she'll go back to maximum security, and her expected release date in the year 2005 is now highly unlikely. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
It is a bittersweet Christmas for the family of American Terry Anderson. The bitter part is that Anderson remains tonight the longest held hostage in Lebanon. The sweet part, if you can call it that, is that the Islamic Jihad terrorists released a Christmas message from their prisoner. The crude videotape is the first look at Anderson in almost 16 months. Bruce Morton has our report.
40-year-old Terry Anderson, spending his third Christmas in captivity, sent greetings home.
I love you and I miss you very much. I'm sorry that we have to be apart again this Christmas. I'm in good health, but tired and very lonely.
Anderson's sister, Peggy Say, watched the videotape.
Christmas is very important to all of us, but it does become a time where you're just trying to get through it and with the best grace possible. But like I said, this has certainly brightened up our day.
The families of the 8 Americans held hostage in Lebanon wrote a Beirut newspaper to let the hostages know they weren't forgotten and pray that they might be released. And in Britain, prayers for Terry Waite, once a negotiator hoping to free other hostages, now for almost a year a hostage himself.
I am praying that Christmas is special this year. Certainly it should be special in reinforcing the amount of prayer for him, for his family, and for others.
Anderson, who was the Associated Press bureau chief in Beirut, also had some words for his government.
Mr. President, I say again, this cannot continue. There is a limit to how long we can last, but some of us are approaching that limit very rapidly.
The State Department noted the timing of the release of the Anderson tape.
We find it cynical that the captors have chosen to release this videotape on Christmas Eve, a time when families traditionally gather together.
But Anderson says the United States must take some of the blame for the situation in the Middle East.
We continue to support Israel despite its campaign of repression on the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and in South Lebanon.
There have been rumors the French government paid ransom for the recent release of 2 French hostages. Despite the Iran-Contra affair, the United States insists it won't do that.
The problem is whether or not you're willing to take actions which in effect reward hostage taking, and that we don't do, and we don't think other governments should either.
When the holidays and New Year's parties are over and you go back to work, remember, we are still here in our prisons. And we will remain here until you find a solution.
There is no hint in today's developments that a solution is anywhere in sight. Dan?
Bruce, when you looked at the complete videotape of Terry Anderson, did he appear to be under duress?
Well, we asked somebody who might know better than I, former hostage David Jacobson. He said that Anderson always used to be the most argumentative of the hostages, that there was no sign of that fire today. And Jacobson thinks the statement was written probably by one of Anderson's Arab captors who was educated in this country. It's written, as you heard, in quite good English.
Thank you, Bruce. Christmas Eve in the Persian Gulf kept U.S. forces on alert and more involved than ever in trying to protect foreign shipping from Iranian attackers. Alan Pizzi is covering the escalating danger in the Gulf.
The Gulf War entered a new phase today when the Liberian tanker Eastern Power was passing Iran's Abu Musa Island. Iranian gunboats sped out to attack. The British frigate Scylla headed to the rescue and sent a helicopter to check. A helicopter from the U.S. Navy frigate Elrod drew Iranian gunfire.
I can confirm that our embarked helicopter was fired upon and received no damage.
The Elrod then placed itself between the tanker lane and Abu Musa Island, and the Iranian speedboats fired on a press helicopter. In an unprecedented move, the British warship protected the Liberian tanker by putting it into formation between two ships flying British flags and headed out of the Gulf. It was the first time U.S. and British forces have intervened directly to try and shield a vessel with a foreign flag, and marks a new escalation of Western involvement in the tanker war. When the Norwegian tanker Berge Big was hit last night by Iranians, the U.S. Navy was also on hand.
This is U.S. warship. Could you please tell me the nature of the problem and what assistance you desire? Over.
The Berge Big took 41 machine gun hits, and shipping sources said the simple attack will put the tanker out of commission for a long and expensive repair job. For the U.S. Gulf Fleet in less troubled parts of the Gulf, the spirit of Christmas prevailed. Unfortunately, Christmas wishes and goodwill don't seem to last long in this part of the world. Alan Pizzi, CBS News in the Gulf.
And still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Bob Simon on a tense Christmas Eve in the Holy Land, and David Browning on America's favorite holiday movie and how it came to be a Christmas present from its director to all of us.
The sun. So bright, so dependable, so perfectly designed. Ever wonder what's behind it? The workhorse from Rayovac. A flashlight 100% brighter than ordinary flashlights and built to perform so reliably, it's practically as dependable as a sunrise. The workhorse from Rayovac. We give you the power.
Mustang GT, for people who want more out of life than a little peace and quiet.
All this great food.
It's for the party. And a fresh box of Arm & Hammer baking soda keeps everything fresh.
Another box in the freezer?
Keeps ice cream from tasting funny. And the calendar reminds us to change every 3 months. Isn't it time for a fresh box?
Mom's magic meatloaf is weighing on you like a ton of bricks. Send the bubbles of Alka-Seltzer to the rescue. Because speed is what you need to lift the heaviness off your stomach and relieve your pounding headache fast.
Alka-Seltzer to the rescue.
Christmas, marked by Santa's, holly, and the welcome presence of Alka-Seltzer. Fast relief of heartburn with headache, accompanied by jingling bellies. Alka-Seltzer, the other holiday tradition.
Pope John Paul tonight proclaimed the joy of the birth of Jesus as he celebrated Christmas Eve midnight Mass in St. Peter's Basilica. More than 25,000 worshippers were seated before the marble altar. Tomorrow, John Paul delivers his traditional Christmas message to the city of Rome and to the world. It was a somber Christmas Eve in Bethlehem on the occupied West Bank. There was a steady downpour, and Israeli troops outnumbered the pilgrims. Bob Simon was there.
Rain is what the Israelis got for Christmas. They'd been praying for it for weeks. For the first time in 2 weeks, nobody got hurt today. There were just some small fires flickering, a few wet rocks in the road, vestiges of violence. In Manger Square, an Israeli police band offered hallelujah, but there was no one to receive. It was Christmas in Bethlehem, and almost nobody came, except those in uniform, prelates and soldiers, the church and the state. Many didn't come because of the unrest. Others couldn't. How many arrests have you made in the Central Command over the last 48 hours?
A few hundreds.
A few hundred. You think you've got the ringleaders, the troublemakers?
We got some of them, and we will get more.
The Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem made his annual pilgrimage to St. Catherine's, the church adjoining the Grotto of the Nativity. In nearby Beit Jala, Roman Catholics celebrated Mass. Beit Jala might be the most moderate town in the territories. There was no trouble here this month. There's been no trouble here in the 20 years of the occupation. But Beit Jala is not at peace.
It's not the Christmas. We don't have the Christmas these days. It's very, very sad the Christmas we have, yes.
Christmas may not be the same this year, but there is a Christmas message here somewhere. Beit Jala is on a hilltop next to Bethlehem. If Gaza is Muslim and poor, Beit Jala is Christian and prosperous. But Palestinians here say that doesn't make any difference anymore.
There is no more difference. We are the same. All of us, we are the same.
That's what's happened here in the weeks before Christmas. People who the Israelis divided up and called different names, West Bankers, Gazans, Israeli Arabs, are saying, call us what we are, Palestinians.
This is an expression of full solidarity throughout the Holy Land between the Palestinian people, which nobody within his mind can really overlook or underestimate.
Midnight Mass in Bethlehem, in a church on the very site where, according to tradition, the Prince of Peace was born. Bob Simon, CBS News, Bethlehem.
Jewish groups in this country lobbied President Reagan and his administration today in defense of Israel's tough tactics in the occupied territories. Eric Engberg has that story.
The Reagan administration's criticism of tough Israeli action against rioters drew flack today from American Jewish groups who took their complaint to the State Department.
These are violent protesters. They are not college campus protesters. They come with Molotov cocktails and gasoline bombs.
No minds were changed. The U.S. remains opposed to Israel's use of harsh security measures.
It was a valuable exchange. We're glad to have their views. We continue to work on these problems.
The images from Gaza have shown Israelis battling Palestinians, but those are only two sides of a multi-sided tinderbox. Palestinian desperation grew when the last meeting of Arab leaders, who normally champion their cause, gave them short shrift.
The Amman Summit and the Washington Summit and the other major meetings of world leaders show very little interest in the problems of the Palestinians, then that violence tends to be exaggerated.
Gaza was lost to the Israelis by Egypt in the 1967 war. The West Bank was lost by Jordan. Every effort to settle the fate of the residents has failed.
Everybody wants the land, but nobody wants the people that come with it.
Egypt, with its own economic problems, has no interest in reclaiming the Gazans. Jordan's King Hussein sees the fervidly nationalist Palestinians as a threat to his own power. Result, deadlock.
Hussein has never felt that he has had the strength to be the actor that the Israelis and the world have always wanted him to be.
Analysts say if there is any benefit from the recent violence, it may be that Hussein, worried that he is losing power in the region, will see a need to move now to break the negotiating logjam. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
King Hussein said today his government will pay monthly pensions to families of the Palestinians killed by Israeli troops during the recent protests. The government called the victims, and I quote now, martyrs who fought for their freedom, unquote. New details today about the worst disaster at sea this century. Investigators now say the captain and two top mates of the Philippines ferry that collided with the tanker and sank Sunday night apparently were not on the bridge. The captain reportedly went to his cabin to watch a video. The two top mates went off to drink a beer. They left an apprentice in charge. The accident that night killed at least 1,600 people. Confirmation from the Pentagon today, starting in June, all U.S. military recruits will be tested for drug use before they're sworn into service. This little notice provision was included in a military spending bill President Reagan signed December 4th. Some Defense Department officials oppose the new drug testing as unneeded and expensive, considering they already have other drug testing programs underway.
The art of investment and financial security requires painstaking preparation. Bold strokes influenced by a mastery of expertise, creative approaches to annuities and mutual funds, innovative forms of insurance, and comprehensive health services. As one of the strongest diversified financial experts, we have the capabilities to turn the business of investment into an art. The Travelers. You're better off under the umbrella.
See these ordinary red stickers? Well, they're red, but ordinary? No. See, Publishers Clearinghouse is announcing the winning number that could win you $10 million on January 29th. Now, no one else is going to tell you this, but these stickers could mean a whole other $1 million if you hurry. You'll only find your sticker inside the Publishers Clearinghouse envelope. So, look for the house, find your sticker, and if you win, remember, you heard it here.
There are over 500,000 doctors in America, and they catch colds just like you. So, which cold medicine would doctors take for their own achy colds, with congestion and sneezing? In a nationwide survey for their own achy colds, more doctors said they take the formula Indristan. Would take tablets or caplets.
If you're dreaming of a white Christmas, the place to be tonight is anywhere from the southern Rockies to the Great Lakes. It stopped snowing in the Denver area by this afternoon, but not before a storm, which stranded 1,000 people at the airport last night, carved out a playground for horses and small children. Now here's a seasonal statistic that may not surprise you. The latest figures indicate that Irving Berlin's White Christmas is the all-time best-selling record. Almost 171 million copies sold in North America since that song was written in 1942. And now, a Christmas Eve story about a Christmas story that's become a national classic. David Browning tells us about it.
Yay! Hello, Bedford Falls!
Around the country this time of year, you can't miss it on television.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, George! Merry Christmas, George!
It's a staple at the video stores.
Merry Christmas, Daddy! Kids!
You can even see it on airplanes.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter! Happy New Year to you! In jail!
It is director Frank Capra's sentimental four-hanky classic, It's a Wonderful Life. It has become America's favorite Christmas story.
Welcome home, Mr. Bailey.
We receive hundreds of letters about this film constantly, and this film was made over 40 years ago, and we're getting fan mail here.
I couldn't face being cooped up for the rest of my life in a shabby little office.
Breathes there a soul who doesn't know the story of George Bailey, whose dreams of travel and adventure slip away as duty and family keep him home in Bedford Falls, who thinks of suicide on Christmas Eve, but comes to understand how much his life has meant to others.
You really had a wonderful life. Don't you see what a mistake it would be to throw it away?
Frank Capra had these sense of values. They were family, they were community, and he was able to get these values up on the screen without preaching.
Of the major players, only Jimmy Stewart survives. The others, Donna Reed, Lionel Barrymore, Thomas Mitchell, all gone. But true fans know all their speeches by heart. Frank Capra's son, Tom.
I was coming back from Hawaii last week and saw it on the plane. I mean, I was sitting there with my earphones on going, you know, you're a warped, frustrated old man, Mr. Potter.
To you, a warped, frustrated old man?
Over the years, critics have called the movie icky, goopy, hard-on-sleeve.
I'll take chocolate.
But it has touched many. Former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane says George Bailey's story helped him recover after a suicide attempt. Director Steven Spielberg says It's a Wonderful Life should be required viewing for anybody making movies. And all along, with typical modesty, Frank Capra has insisted it's perhaps the best movie anybody ever made. He is 90 now, in frail health. This interview from a few years back.
Under the whole thing is written that the wonderful thing that life is, and how precious each we are to each other and should be to each other.
Here's some beautiful.
And in a case of life imitating the movies, Frank Capra found himself in a scrape worthy of George Bailey. Capra lost his ownership of the film by letting the copyright lapse.
Well, it was a mistake. He was upset with his lawyer, who kept writing him letters saying the copyright's going to lapse, Frank, and he was throwing the letters away because he was mad at his lawyer at the time. It's a classic Hollywood story, I would say.
But it also produced a classic Hollywood ending, because it means that the original black and white film is now in the public domain, meaning, in a legal sense, that all America owns it. A Christmas gift, 41 years old.
And that's tonight's CBS Evening News. And now, if I may, a personal word. I'd like to wish each of you a happy and joyous holiday. In a moment, we'll be back with the CBS Evening News Christmas tradition. It's our annual Christmas card. It features the people who work behind the scenes to put this broadcast together every night. Dan Rather, Merry Christmas, everybody.
GM meets your challenge now.
If you ask me to dish out my hard-earned money on a new car, then you better show me some real quality that's priced right.
GM meets your challenge with outstanding quality and great values, backed by the strongest warranty in GM history.
What about price?
Most popular GM cars and trucks equipped the way you want are priced lower in 1988. And right now you can more than double your savings on option packages on some of our best-selling cars.
That's leadership. That's GM. That's him, isn't it?
You bet it is.
He's good.
I just love the way he parties. Do you know why Spuds McKenzie has so much fun at parties? Because he's always in control. And he knows how to make a party last. It takes good sense to have a good time. And Spuds knows it's cool to live by one simple rule. Know when to say when.
A reminder from Anheuser-Busch.
Listen to your mouth. That's the crunchy texture of a Triscuit. Now that's the delicious whole wheat taste of a Triscuit. Ooh. And that's the unique look of a Triscuit. They're made to take on any topping or no topping at all. Just listen to your mouth.
Ah.
That's the sound of a happy mouth. Triscuit. Listen to your mouth.
Help you?
Fill her up.
I know you. You on TV?
Sometimes.
Sure. You won millions of dollars from that,
No, American Family Publishers.
Oh, yeah, the one with Ed McMahon.
That's right. I personally awarded David $10 million. Watch for the sweepstakes with my picture. You may be next. $10 million, all yours. Enter before January 29th.
It's hot. It's cool. Ford Ranger is kicking up excitement with good looks, lots of power, great value.
Having fun, looking good.
Ford Ranger, built fun time.
U.S. ski team member Felix McGrath talks about Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine.
It's such a relief to be able to go out on the hill and to not have to worry about a runny nose, being congested, having aches and pains.
Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine really works.
Every day I miss training is taking away a level of performance. As an athlete, you're always on the edge of getting sick.
Alka-Seltzer Plus, fast, effective relief for tough winter colds.
It's been excellent for me.
Try new Alka-Seltzer Plus nighttime cold medicine to relieve your cold at night.
You may not have thought of buying a Sears Die-Hard battery until you've had a little time alone to think about it.
I'm Kathleen Sullivan.
And I'm Harry Smith. All of us at CBS This Morning would like to wish you a happy holiday and a healthy and wonderful new year.
Season's greetings.
This is CBS.
On